Hey everyone, I'm Emmanuel Knafel. I'm one of the founders of DevOps Shield, and I'm really excited to talk about our brand new release of our container version onto the Docker Hub, the Community Edition. So you'll be able to try out DevOps Shield very quickly through Docker Hub. This video will give you a walkthrough. All right, so you can, of course, uh, look for DevOps Shield in the Docker Hub, and you'll find it under DevOps Shield um, / DevOps Shield. That can also be found, of course, in the Docker Hub. You can go ahead and go into images, search for images to run as well. And if you do search for DevOps Shield, you will see DevOps Shield right here. So from the command line, it's pretty straightforward. If I go back to the actual hub.docker.com page, you'll see DevOps Shield right here. A few notes on who we are, some links to our website, resource center, contact us, and GitHub issues if you have any. And actually, to run everything, I have nothing in my image list. You just have to run this command. It's fairly straightforward. Let me open up a command prompt. Obviously, you need Docker desktop installed. And as you can see, I have no containers running. I also have no images. I've pretty much cleaned everything up. So no images. And I'm going to go ahead and execute that one single command. So it's a Docker run command in detached mode. You do need to put a port mapping. We're exposing port 8080. So I'm going to port the map the local host 8080 to the containers port 8080 and go ahead and download the image DevOps Shield / DevOps Shield. So let's go ahead and do that. It'll take a few seconds. It doesn't find it locally. I go ahead and pull it and basically runs a container. So now we have that container running right here. It has a random name, Optimistic Napier in this case, and you just have to go ahead and log or browse to localhost 8080. Let me open that up in a new tab, and here I am. I have the app running. You can even see the version right here, 1.0.819. And all you need to do is log in right here for the first time. So the top right, click on that. And you can follow the hint here for first time login. You'll log in with DevOps Shield. And then change it to a safer password. Let me just make sure I have DevOps Shield here as well. You never know what got cached. And let me go ahead and change that password. Nothing too fancy. It's running locally, so I'm not too concerned. And I'm going to go ahead and change that password. Oops, something must have happened. Must have forgotten a letter. Okay, hopefully I typed that right. It seems I did. So it is DevOps Shield with 2 S's, right? So I think that might have been my mistake. Let me go ahead and go to the dashboard. Perfect. So we're actually logged in right now, and it brings you to the dashboard. There's pretty much nothing going on yet, right? Because we haven't configured the application. The best is just basically to jump in right away. Notice there's no resources, no assessments done. Is just jump away right away to the setup configuration. I'm going to do that and do a quick setup, get started. Let me go ahead and do that. Now there's only a few informations that we're going to need. We're going to need the tenant ID. This is the Azure tenant ID right here. A tenant name, it could be anything, but you often make it match the actual tenant name. It doesn't have to, but you should. And an organization or an Azure DevOps organization name we'd like to put, as well as a PAT token. We'll need that PAT token to do that scan to get all of the information, because there's some sort of tricky calls and REST API calls that need to get done. You'll need the full a full PAT token. Now, you don't need to make it last very long. A day or two is going to be enough for an assessment, right? If you just want to do a one-shot assessment. So let's go ahead and enter that information. And one way to do that is, let me open up an actual organization that I have. So it's this DevOps ABCs organization right here. There's a few projects in here. I'm going to go ahead and create a personal access token, just in case some of you might not know how to do this. I suspect if you're listening to this video, you probably know how to do it, but I'm doing this just in case. So let's go ahead and create a new token. And sorry, did I click that? You can click on new token here as well. So this is a DevOps Shield token, and it's for this demo that I'm doing right now. I'm actually, I'll leave it to 30 days. It doesn't really matter. You can shorten it if you want. Just do it custom defined and make it expire tomorrow if you want. Or next month, sorry, that's next month. Let me do tomorrow. Tomorrow would be, say, the 17th. Okay, and make it a full access token, and that's it. So I'm pointing to the organization. I made it last a day, the token, and let me go ahead and create that. And you have a token. It's actually longer than this, but let me go ahead and copy that to the clipboard, and let's go back to our application. So I'm going to paste that right away before I lose it. I will also need the tenant ID, and that is easy enough. Let me show you that as well. Maybe not all of you know how to do this, but you could tie your organization. So let me go to the organization settings on the bottom left to a tenant, typically the tenant that your users, your Azure Active Directory, right, which is now called Microsoft Entra. So I'm going to grab my tenant ID right here. So this is for my DevOpsABCs.com tenant. Go ahead and grab that. Paste that in the tenant ID right here. Finally, I will want to add a tenant name. You can also grab that from that same place. It could be anything. You could call it DevOpsABCs.com. I like to call it by sort of a friendlier name, if you will. I'm going to put that right here, DevOps ABCs. And finally, the organization name is obviously the ADO organization, which is basically this name right here, DevOps ABCs. You can also see it from the URL right here. Let me go ahead and grab that, copy that part, and let's paste that. And that's enough. That's all you need to do. I filled out a few things right here. Leave the enterprise type to Azure DevOps and just go ahead and do a start setup now. It's as easy as that. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and that will perform my first, not quite, but it will trigger my first scan. So notice I've successfully finished the configuration. I'm all green. And now if I go to the automation scans, just a little bit higher right here, I can see that my first assessment or scan is now running. This organization is somewhat big. There's at least 100 projects. So it's going to take a little bit of time. I think probably around 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but it's actually going through a full scan of all resources. That means it's going to loop through, for example, let me go back to this org, it's going to loop through all the projects. There's quite a few of them here. As you can see, I'm only at the letter C right now, and I've been scrolling. And each project can have multiple repos and so on. So let me go ahead and wait for that. I might even pause the video. And we're back from the scan. As you can see, the scan took a little under 5 minutes. It did get quite a few resources, and also did a policy compliance and evaluation right here. So you can see all the data, if you will, or all the Azure DevOps resources in the Data Explorer. As you can see, we only scanned one organization, which had 127 projects. And you could see a full breakdown right here, 24 users, 549 repositories, 208 service connections, and so on. I even have a list of the top 10 projects. So you can see that. And you can click on any one of these projects or repositories to refine details. So if I go to this, say, gas for ADO project, I get a full breakdown as well. I got 291 branches, 150 security permissions, and you could narrow down on any one of these resources. So for instance, if I want to see how many repositories, well, I could see there's 13. They're all right here. And you can click on any one of them. I click on this one, and you'll see some information regarding that Azure DevOps resource. Even a ref name right here. So you can kind of guess, okay, this is part of the DevOps ABC organization in this gas for ADO project. And the repository is called Advanced Security Python. You even get the raw answer from the Azure DevOps REST API right here. Even the actual call that was done. So pretty interesting stuff. I'll go ahead and close that. Next, I want to bring your attention to the security overview, and notice that this is the Community Edition. So in actuality, you're protected for up to 10 resources. And you'll see that when we look at the assessments. You can, of course, upgrade to a fuller version, for example, from the Microsoft Azure Marketplace. But what's interesting here is I do have an overview. Get the score. I have, all my critical vulnerabilities. So you can see all of that right here. And for instance, the organization disallows anonymous access. It's a critical one. Well, unfortunately, I haven't set that for this DevOps ABC's organization. So anonymous access is actually allowed. So this is something that you most likely want to fix. You allow public projects should be disabled, and you have a bunch of information around that. So you can go ahead and click on, let me open this in a new tab to get a little bit more information from the Microsoft Docs on how to change these kind of things. So we're talking about visibility and so on. Finally, and this sort of one of the main reasons we wanted to showcase this container, we can do these one-shot assessments. So the DevOps assessment, it was done for us already, right, in that one scan. So we just scan that, and we have a 61% compliance. And remember, this is out of a total of, we're really looking at up to these 10 resources. So it's not the entire view because this is the community edition, but you still get a lot of information. So you can still go into this UI and get all of the inventory and so on. But when you go to the actual assessment reports, you have a summary right here. As you can see, I got scores, how many critical resources that need to get fixed. I even get a full breakdown of everything. As you can see, I get all my 127 projects. I have 549 repos. That's quite a bit. All of this is already pretty interesting. Security permissions gives you who has access to what. I get a log as well, which is an interesting summary of the automation tasks that ran. And finally, you can export 3 reports. So let me go ahead and view and export some of these reports. So you can either generate the security governance report, which basically gives you sort of compliance information. I also have, which is kind of this DevOps security overview information right here. You can also export the DevOps inventory. So of course, in this community edition, I am limited to up to 10 resources. So effectively, that's the one org, 4 projects in this case, and 4 repositories. So I can export that. And I can also export the security permissions. If I scroll all the way up, now you can export either as JSON or CSV. So for instance, let me export the DevOps governance report. And there you go. It's as easy as that. I just exported it. It now appears in my downloads right here. And you can open that with your favorite JSON viewer. It could be Visual Studio Code, Notepad++, whatever you want to open it in. And that'll show you exactly all of the, all of the results right here. So I have them all here. Effectively, I get all the compliance scores and so on. So that's it. You could have also exported it as a CSV, for example, and opened it into Excel. Maybe I'll do that for, say, this report right here, the security permissions report. Sorry, that was the JSON. Let me now switch to CSV. Let's generate that security permission report, and there it is. We go ahead and might need to refresh here. Okay, you can go ahead and open that report right here. You get a nice Excel or CSV actually file with all the permissions. So I'm not going to go through all the details, but this is really the permissions, for example, to repositories, and it sort of says who has access to what, and you can go ahead and create filters and so on in Excel. Close that. And that's the tour. So this is the DevOps Shield Community Edition. You can go ahead and download that from Docker Hub. Go straight to Docker Hub. Search for DevOps Shield right here. And you'll find the Community Edition right here. And just follow this video, or of course, these instructions right here, to do exactly what I just did and already start securing your DevOps today and get lots of information on your inventory and your compliance right away today for free. Hope to see you soon, and hope to see you on GitHub and on our website, or even at the Azure Marketplace. Talk to you later.